I mean that's a situation that we should not be heading to.
So, but here's the problem: is he was enacting his Second Amendment right.
Justin,
Denise, that's the law. That's the law.
It's the law in Texas that you can open carry that kind of weapon.
Right.
And what Denise is saying is that's a really stupid law that people should be able to open carry semi-automatic assault type weapons. And right now, the state creating that law is not in violation of the Constitution according to current constitutional interpretation. That does not mean it's a good policy for the states. I think she's saying,
I hear you.
It is.
It is the law.
The person, I understand. The guy made a very smart move. If he had pulled his gun, because you remember at the beginning of Dallas, we had no idea how many shooters there were. This guy would shoot and run. And the thought was it was more than one person. That was certainly the impression in the national news as they were trying to cover it. That was being conveyed. The whole race issue, though, is not. Guns are important. Gun laws are important. Those two subjects can intersect, but what we're really talking about at the moment is white privilege, different standards that are applied in the community towards African Americans, and it varies in the South and in the North and the West and the East. It's hard to generalize. What's not hard to generalize is it's harder to grow up and live and raise a family virtually everywhere in America if you are an African American. It's harder. Is it impossible? No, people do it all the time. Some people do it amazingly well against the odds that most of us white people don't comprehend. And we got Ken here as a fabulous example of that, and there are examples all over the country.
Let me take a break real quick, and we'll continue down that road. This is Backroom Politics live from Washington, D.C. We'll be back in 3 minutes to continue our discussion. It's a special edition, America in Conflict, as a result of the tragic violence that's happened over the past week. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Stay with us. here live at Shelley's Backroom, 1331 F Street, in the heart of our nation, in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. This is Backroom Politics live from on Spreaker. Hey, we're going to continue the discussion about the tragic events that have happened over the past week with the death of two black males at the hands of police officers, one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, one in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area of Minnesota. The governor of Minnesota has requested that the Department of Justice investigate and take the lead on the investigation on the shooting in Minnesota. As of this moment, the state of Louisiana law enforcement divisions and public safety in the state now have custody of the investigation out of Baton Rouge. But I want to go back to a discussion of this black versus blue. And Ken, I'm going to go to you. It strikes me that when this happens, there's two problems here. One, when stuff like this happens, we see Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter continues to promote the idea that blacks are unfairly targeted, they are unfairly prosecuted, they are unfairly contacted by law enforcement in a way that is separate from any other race in the nation. At the same time, though, they, in an interview, one of their co-founders in an interview yesterday on CNN, one of the greatest moments I think out of all of this was the chief of police in Dallas, David Brown, who unto himself is a truly phenomenally accomplished cop. Came out of Dallas, a native son.
Worst part of Dallas.
Picked himself up.
With a history of gun violence in his family.
Exactly. And made his way up to be the senior law enforcement official in the city of Dallas. During his press conference, and let's be clear, David Brown's been transparent this whole time. But during the press conference, he made a statement which I thought was hugely, hugely moving. He basically said, look, for all of you guys at Black Lives Matter, for all of the Americans that feel that police are being unfairly targeted, come off the protest lines. We're hiring. Put in your application. And basically, in short, I'm going to paraphrase, but I took that as it's time to either put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Now's your opportunity. You want to fix community policing? Become a cop. Help fix it. I'll put you in any community you want to help fix this problem. As a black man, when you hear that, does that have some legitimacy in his claim? We hear a lot of people protest, but when he's basically asking the question, how's the view from the cheap seats?
So, I guess my response would be the same. I just consider this response as just being the response of a man, and it's the response of a man who's grown up inside of a system, and a fairly large, complex, and not always that racially diverse system. And I'm talking about the U.S. Navy. And what I would say to directly answer your question is, yeah, I think his words had a lot of weight and a lot of merit. If you want to change a system, you don't do it from the outside, you do it from the inside. It's one thing to basically complain and moan and grouse, but when you basically come on the other side,
I don't believe this.
When you come on to the other side, you're talking a whole different ballgame.
I just got a message on my phone from somebody who's a senior official at the Department of Labor. She's just telling me that she's been told the shelter-in-place active shooter situation going on in Northwest D.C., down by the Labor Department, down close to the Capitol.
The House and the Senate are in lockdown.
They are in lockdown. Yeah. So apparently we're going to keep an eye on this. There is a situation developing here in Washington, D.C. This is breaking news. As of right now, it appears now several government buildings, including the House and Senate, particularly the Senate office buildings, are in lockdown right now, or about to go into lockdown. We're seeing an official at the Department of Labor saying that they are being told to shelter in place right now. So this is several buildings that are in play. We're going to continue to monitor the situation. We'll get some more information as it develops. But there's definitely a active shooter situation going on in Northwest D.C.
Now, with regard to something you mentioned that as you opened the top of the segment, the Minnesota governor asking the
Department of Justice
to come in. I think, quite frankly, that may sound good on some levels, that he's looking to get the Department of Justice to come in. But I guess for me, I think, quite frankly, if I'm a cop, if I'm a good cop, if I'm a good chief in that organization, give me a chance, to figure out what's going on. And he may have already done that, and we're just not privy to that information. But every time one of these situations happens, I don't think the de facto answer should be bringing in the federal government, because if that's the case, how then will the common everyday populace ever learn to trust their police department? They're going to do the right thing without Big Brother coming in to look over their shoulder.
All right, but I want to go back to one question though. But Denise, when I see that one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter come back and say that they don't get it. They don't get it. What the police chief is saying is obtuse. It's rhetorical. It's not real. Does that send the message of saying, look, we're protesting. We're not part of the solution. We don't want to be part of the solution. We're just going to continue to talk about the fact that there's a problem?
If we're going to change the problem, and there is a problem in the United States, Ken's right. You have to be part of the solution, and you have to be part of the solution at a variety of levels. It's not only being willing to sign up and wear the uniform, but it's willing to undergo slights, and that's what's going to happen if you do this. Is it going to be a perfect first couple of years? No, it's going to suck. You're going to have to go in through, and I say this because it has to be done. If we don't fully integrate, if we don't fully come in, then we're going to have this us versus them mentality. It's hard to overcome. It's hard to do. But you have to be willing to put your big girl panties on and put your big boy panties. Well, you guys don't wear panties.
What Justin wears is not the point.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, you have to get in there because, you can chatter and you can talk and you can chatter for as long as you want. But unless you're willing to be part of the solution, you're going to continue to be part of the problem.
Yeah, Dan Lipner.
But I think it's worth noting the contrast. So we have two issues that happen almost simultaneously. The protests in Dallas, where the Dallas Police Department, by all accounts on the ground, was handling themselves phenomenally. Actually being in the crowd, interacting
Dallas
with
Police
folks.
Department tweeted out a photo of two Dallas police officers, one a black, one a white, with a protester that was holding a sign saying "No peace, no justice, no justice, no peace," and they were smiling. They actively took the picture.
Now, I would contrast